there, YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review, I'm going to be showing you the Doctor Who Forbidden Planet exclusive Revenge of the Cybermen Cyberman set. So let's get started with the review. Let's use the actual Cyberman and not the Cyber Leader, considering that he's more basic. So let's start with the articulation. There could be articulation at the head, but considering that the helmet goes over the shoulders, it can't really turn at all, which is okay considering the fact that, well, the helmets didn't turn at all in Doctor Who, maybe in the new series, but that's a different story. The arms could go 360 degrees, but they get slightly hindered by this little bolt on the shoulder. It's not really a good idea to make it go all the way over, as it could scratch the paint on the arm. Also, there could be 360 degrees here, but the piping restricts it as well. There's a full 90-degree turn at the elbows, and a full 360-degree turn at the wrists. There is also a full 360-degree turn at the waist. As you can see, the legs can go out almost 90 degrees, but then again, the piping and all the suit and everything, like the overalls, gets in the way. The leg can bend at 90 degrees, and there could be articulation at the foot, but it's very, very restricted by the trousers. There's no proper articulation where like the leg can bend, where it can turn in. I can't really remember what that joint was called, but so yeah, that's the articulation sorted out. It's pretty good compared to all the other Cybermen, how the piping would generally get in the way, say with the Tomb Cybermen. God, I'll never forgive that figure. So now let's take a quick look at the detail of the figure. Now, you can already see on the helmet brilliant detail all over. I mean, just look at it. Just look at this. It's brilliant. They even cut in like a little line into the helmet where the separate plate would go. They've even added the little bolts at the back of the helmet. The tubing is brilliant. It's slightly bent in, but I'm not quite worried about that because the suits would always get kind of damaged in the actual episode anyway. You have all the different lines around the earmuffs. The gun at the top is fantastically detailed. I mean, just look at it. You got all 5 barrels just sticking out, and it looks brilliant. It actually looks like it could fire something out of there. Also, the face of the Cyberman is just brilliant. I mean, just look. That is something that you would see in your nightmares. That is something you would see chasing after you and wanting to pretty much duplicate you into something that resembles them in such a cold way. I mean, you even see the little wired mesh where the eye holes are. I mean, look at that. It's brilliant. You even have the little teardrops, you have mouth hole. I think there's wired mesh, like a wired mesh detailing in the mouth, but it's so thin you can hardly see anything. And you've got the little separate line going around the bottom of the helmet, which is pretty nice. Something that actually I wish all the Cybermen had, I think it would have made it look a bit better. If I just bring along the other Cyberman, you can see that his helmet, the one here, is sticking up, and it's not really put onto the body properly. I think that's just a quality control issue, but to be honest, this looks slightly better. I mean, I know this is how it's originally meant to look with the helmet on properly, but this kind of replicates how the suits were, because, you know, you'd have the actors occasionally getting their heads all over the place with the Cyberman costumes. But anyway, you know, it's not too much of an issue. So, yeah, that's the helmet. The chest unit is very, very good. I'm very happy with how it turned out. You have all the little mechanisms and all the different little robotic pieces and stuff that go into the Cyberman. You have a nice little black strip going along here. It's kind of hard to make out on camera, but it almost has a sort of a wooden effect, as if it was made of wood. I'm not a huge expert on how the Cyberman costumes worked back in the day, You have the little black circle here. You have the little knobs coming out. You have the piping going all around, and then you have it hook into a nice little circle at the back, which is obviously a separate piece. I particularly like the little creasing detail. I'm not sure if it was meant to be creases or not, but it actually looks really nice because it gives it sort of like a feel as if there's like a robotic skeleton inside there, which gives it a more sort of cyborg effect. And then you have the piping. It continues down to the legs and all down here. We'll get to that in just a second. On the arms, there's not a whole lot to talk about. You just have the piping going down and continues all the way down to the wrist. You have a nice little loose piece here with all the different little bits of wire and stuff like that join this bit together. It's quite loose and separate from the actual body, which is quite nice. So it gives, or from the actual arm, not the body, which gives it a nice sort of flexible feel. I like the little ridges going along here. It replicates the actual costume very well. You have a little ball at the end. And the gloves, not a whole lot to talk about. They're pretty much just your ordinary hands, except with a few little creases at the top. If I can just focus. A little crease at the top. You have a little cut where the thumb goes. And just a few little creases on the palm of the hand, which is all very nice. And I actually particularly like that each hand is shaped differently to the other one, which is quite nice. So you can have like this one. This would be particularly good for the cyber leader. You can get him, instructing and, pointing Cybermen in the right direction, if you know what I mean. Pardon the pun. And then you have this one, which is more kind of like a relaxed feeling, which is altogether very nice. The legs are pretty much the same as the arms in terms of detailing. You have the pipes going down, you have the little ridges here, just like the arms, and then you have the actual piece of fabric, like the clothes, like what's it called, the shirt, or the tunic, whatever it's called, kind of going over the legs, which is quite nice. It really replicates the costume well. The boots, or the shoes, they're actually pretty nice. You have the legal information at the bottom, and then you have the nice little bits at the top, like the different little tongues of the shoe and stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of detail. So, overall, it's actually a very nice figure. I am very, very happy with how it all turned out. Just looking at the Cybermen is fantastic. And then, of course, with the Cyber Leader, everything is exactly the same, except for the fact that you have the black all around the earmuffs and stuff, which is accurate to the actual helmet. And then you have the bottom section as well, which is black, which is obviously correct. Accessory-wise, you have the Cyber Mat from the story, which is actually very large compared to the Cybermen. Like, if I just get the Cyberman and the Cyber Mat, you can actually see it's pretty darn huge compared to the previous Cybermen, like in Tomb of the Cybermen and the new series Cyber Mats. Sorry, was I saying Cybermen before? No, sorry, it's Cyber Mat. God, I need to get my cyberology correct, if you know what I mean. You have the nice little red light under here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's like a little red line here, which does replicate the actual on-screen prop. And then you have all the very nicely sculpted individual plates, which allowed it to bend and fold, as in the actual episode. You have the really nice little ridges and gears here. I believe the fourth Doctor was dissecting one of these cybermats on board. I think it's called the Space Station Nerva. I think that was what it was called. But anyway, it would have been nice if it was posable, because that would have been quite nice to display with the Cybermen, but it's still quite nice, Where there's a lack of articulation, there is no lack of detail. So that pretty much wraps up this review. I really like the set, actually. It is definitely one of my top favorite sets. Quality control-wise, there were just a few scratches here and there, but nothing really like, missing limbs or anything like that. Nothing that bad. So yeah, my ratings, I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a very, very good set. The only thing that brings the mark down one is just that the Cybermat wasn't articulated, which I think might have been a bit nicer. But otherwise, I think it's a very good set. Go out and buy it. It's brilliant. I can't remember the exact price point for it, but it seems to be a very popular reoccurring set in Forbidden Planet. So, thank you very much for watching this review. This has been the Happy Toy Factory, and I shall see you next time.